Then the motor output is oriented towards the visual stimulus. So color is really all in your brain. When the different wavelengths of radiation bounce back at us, that's what we perceive as color. So vision is pretty crazy because what are we actually seeing? Like the environment around us might look completely different to everybody. It's totally, you don't know. I might look like an alien, but I might see myself as a human. You never know. It just depends on what light's bouncing off of me.
Right.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then lastly, we're going to focus on gustation, which is taste. So, olfaction, actually, which is smelling. So you have chemoreceptors in your nasal passages, and then there's 3 components to it. There's the olfactory epithelium, olfactory bulb, and olfactory tract. Yeah, good. The nasal passages and tetrapods are similar to choanates with external layers and internal layers. So these are choanates. So this has a septum, so it's a one-way flow.
Okay.
One-way flow. And then there's external, internal nails on this. Nails. Same thing.
Sure.
So we are most like the choanates, not the non-choanates. But as far as the olfactory epithelium goes, there are sustentacular cells, great name, right? Those secrete mucus in our nose, which helps support it.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's olfactory sensory cells, and they have odor receptor proteins on the cilia. And the basal cells are replacement cells. So each smell receptor, has only one kind of odor receptor. So you'll know when you're smelling a flower versus smelling the litter box. You have only one odor receptor for flowers and one for litter box. What are you looking at?
Oh, nothing. Just right out there. So.
Just thinking about a litter box.
Yeah, I thought of the cat. There it is.
So smelling is pretty weird too. Your brain is interpreting that also.
Yeah.
The body is crazy. Is this even real life? I don't know. But lastly, we're gonna talk about gustation, which is
I pinched myself.
which is tasting.
Right.
So you've got sweet, sour, salty, and bitter. So there are different channels in your taste buds that determine so this is a sodium one.
Mm-hmm.
It's literally a sodium ion channel. It's pretty cool. But the sweet and sour are G coupled protein
I just had
receptors.
some of that for dinner.
Sweet and sour sauce. And then the bitter is also a G protein coupled receptor. So bitter is caffeine, nicotine, and quinine. So with bitter, those are plant defense mechanisms. That's when you eat bitter stuff, that's your body telling you stop eating this, it's poison. Yeah. Yeah. So in your taste buds, it's also chemoreception along with olfaction. And the gustatory cells have taste receptors on these microvilli. That's where, you taste the food, you got the molecules, whatnot. And then there are also sustentacular cells, which secrete mucus. Love that word. So, I do. So, what's your favorite food?
Oh boy. Big fan of crab legs.
Crab legs. All right. So how do you know you're eating crab legs? So you can look at it. You can see it. Mm-hmm. So those are your photoreceptors working.
Mm-hmm.
The texture, you can feel the crab. Those are mechanoreceptors in your senses, whatnot, or in your fingers. And then you can also smell the crab, which is...
Smells like crab.
Yeah, it's seafood. So those are your chemoreceptors at work, and then you can taste it, which are also your chemoreceptors.
Tastes like crab.
And then, the sound of crab, you cracking the leg open, those are also mechanoreceptors. So, you've got all your senses working for you, determining that this is in fact crab.
Yeah.
Because of communication in the brain. And then lastly, like there's just integration of the environment. So internally and externally, like what's going on in your body, what's going on outside of your body,
Mhm.
and then you can sense your environment and respond appropriately. So like, you know, you've got your voluntary actions, your involuntary actions, like, you know, put your hand on a hot plate, pull it away, that's involuntary. Like, you know,
Yeah.
you ever like accidentally put your hand in some water and be like, ah, ouch.
Pretty sure I'm voluntarily being like, nope, don't want to touch that anymore. But it's-
Before you can think about it.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Right, like you don't like sit there and go, oh, this is kind of hot. I suppose I should take my hand away.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Got it.
So, what do you think? Like, do you think you're perceiving reality for how it really is?
Yes.
Yeah?
Yes.
All right.
Kind of. I mean, I don't know. It's interesting. I don't think about it all functioning all together at the same time, usually.
My life
Or-
has changed. Are you real?
Maybe not. But that's interesting, though. I don't know. I guess you just don't think about how well they work together and how you need them all to really determine what's going on or what's not going on.
Integration.
Yeah. Yeah. Good?
Yeah.
Cool.
Thank you.
no
Thank you
problem.
for coming to my TED Talk.
TED Talk.